Good morning. I was feeling kind of good today, but my cold still isn't gone. Does this work? Apparently does. Kind of, but that doesn't matter. Feeling energetic and hopeful and good. And it's time to play Dark Souls later so that I can later co-op with Bites, aka Schweitzer. And now it's time to unpack my first door of the Chili Sauce and Adventskalender. Yes, dude. Yes. It's substantially weighted. It weighs, I would say, like maybe up to a kilo. I don't know, maybe. And one of the doors, unfortunately, got pressed in. Because I had this in the shrunk in front of my bed, and I stumped it with my toe, but I didn't peek in. I will now use my fleshy, not illegal, mind you, Bali song. It's very dull as crap. It's just for practice, just to keep my hand occupied. I quite like playing with it. Actually, PewDiePie brought me, back to that idea from my teenage days. But it's actually not really a good tool for this. It does work. It's blunt, but not too blunt. See, I went in there, and now, ooh, that sound. It's a good sound from childhood. Oh, I forgot something. A potion of spice. Curry habanero. I think I already have this as like a huge bottle. Well, there's nothing else inside. Wow, I thought there was like maybe a recipe or something. Wop, 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 wop. That was a bit of a letdown. But of course we're gonna try it too. Yes. Yes, dude. This can only be good for my cold. Bad for anything else. At least it's more than I expected in there. That's 20 milliliters. That will actually. Wow. So at the end of this I've got 24, probably, even if that's at all possible, 24 different hot sauces, and actually quite a substantial amount of it. That's interesting. Though maybe there's gonna be recipes in other doors, but oof, boy. It's just a huge hole. No, no drippy thing. We're gonna do it like this. I've got this candy wrapper right here, and I'm gonna pour some in here. Ooh, those were 2 drops. And I'm not gonna lick it. Bacteria is never a good thing to keep where you get your food from. So wipe this off. Careful around your hands, as Sean would say. Sean from Hot Ones. Oof. Careful around your eyes is what he would say, yeah. That nothing really came through the paper. So 3 drops of curry, habanero, Mexican tears, hot sauce. Let's see how spicy it's supposed to be. Doesn't say. Usually on the big bottle there is like a little indicator. Yeah, here goes nothing. Ooh, it's got a nice taste to it, not gonna lie. So far it's not too hot. It's got a good smoky feeling in the back of the throat there. I mean, after this I'll probably be cured of my cold, that's for sure. I mean, after a couple of doors of this. Ooh. Yeah, it's not too bad. I would say even a person that's not used to hot sauces can take like a drop to some food of this, no problem. Well, it's always hard to make a recommendation like this, but I've had a lot worse hot sauces. And that has a nice taste to it. Yeah, so Dark Souls. Today's my day off. First day off. Yesterday I called in sick because I had a really awful tummy ache. Added to the cold that I already have. I really didn't feel well at all, but today, well, it was maybe not a good idea to start the day with a bit of hot sauce, but anyway, it's still there. I mean, my tongue is going like, dude, what the hell? I'm gonna take another spicy ginger cough drop candy, which is already spicy. Not comparable though, of course, but for a candy it's actually definitely just a bit spicy, yeah. So what I need is the white soapstone. Hopefully the rumble function of the joypad is working today. Good morning, Steam, I wrote. Oh well. Let's make it steamy then, eh? Ooh, I can actually feel it clearing up my phlegm. That's nice. That's lovely. That's good. Options. Because the rumble function didn't work and there was a bit of a letdown. Later on then. So playing this in ultra wide. Well, let's be honest, it's nice for that. It runs very smooth. Obviously, well, not obviously, but it does. I have no hecking idea where to go next. It was totally not on purpose. I'm just happy that just the jump function in this game. I jumped right down the well. Oh, but that's the starting area. This looks like the place to go. Ah, no, that's where I came from, actually. Yeah, why else would he face the other direction? Also, and also I remember that Deuterino with the bow. Can't get up there now. No wooden doors. Started to attack, that's different. The Demon Souls remake, because then you can sort of do a feint and block while you still swing, or while in the middle of a swing. Yeah, it doesn't work at all. One swing, no combo. I should stop roaming, but it's really not what I expected. I thought this was like... Yeah, honestly I just confused Remastered. yawn. Stats to use it. It says that 12, I have 14 now. The mouse is nuts. Well, this is like it's always, it's just a matter of time. It still looks nice. It's just a well-made game.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. To be honest, I'm starting to have fun. The water is quite beautiful. There's this crow fellow up there, isn't it? Oh yeah, there. Oh, Croaky. Croaky the Crikey. Battling the skeletons. darkness of demons. I am now living and I look like that. No, I'm not, of course, because I haven't activated the thingy thing, the item, the humanity thing. There you go, you tosser. Do I have enough for a level up already? Does it say souls? Doesn't. Huh. Doesn't say. And Bob's your uncle. More vitality. I'll need it for the boss. It's crazy how your brain, like, it's sort of like a seed sprouting in your brain, and while you're playing, the plant is slowly growing, and it's remembering everything about this game, like the paths you can take, the enemies you're about to face. With each new twig and each new leaf and each new little thing, a new
Hello
path
there.
inside your mind.
I believe we are not
So
acquainted.
remember-
I am Petrus of Thurland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
Okay, bye. I'm pretty sure, because that was actually already a thing in Demon Souls where you destroyed some pottery. Oh, I don't even know. Even in Demon Souls, there was this coin that you could find if you destroyed some pottery, but only while you were in the White Tendency levels. Very good. Some more level up facility. Oof. That's not good. That's a trap. I need a torch. I don't remember this to be nice. Can I? Yeah, I can. Not like this, I can't. There's a jump button in Elden Ring, right? I thought I remember seeing something. Blam it. Dang it. Humdingery dang it. Try one more time and then that's that. Zing. numbers game now, which is actually well, it makes it sort of less easier to Demon Souls because there's less things to consider. Meta. You just know that I hit faster than him. I hit him for that much damage, so I need to do this many times, not fall down, and then I'll be fine. Which is exactly what's happening. Okay. He can jump back. That should also consider reach, of course. I can jump over there, but I'm not gonna do that while I still have my souls. Gonna do one more level up before I progress. Still haven't used the polarity, which is good, so that's not wasted if I die jumping down there. Oops. Fireband. Nothing upon death but ring breaks. Well, yes, that is nice, but wow. That is nice. If you really have a lot of souls. Got scared there a little bit, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Got a little bit scared. Good boy, Skellington. Goodbye. Oh, really? Really now? Liar. Coward. Well, liar. Just place a sign here saying liar, but so we lost on dead. Starting to like this again. Once you get like used to it, feeling that like amazing this thing is its own right. I wonder if that was a mistake. We'll see, we'll find out. Hang on. Rubbish? Well, ain't that just a little bit of rubbish? Ain't that just a little bit? Ain't that just a wee bit of rubbish? Did I hear something creeping up behind me there? I don't even need to jump. I think the next bonfire is actually not that far away. I might just try and... There we go. But I didn't finish what I think because what I wanted to say is that yay, in Elden Roll it's gonna be good, or like maybe for the game that you break pottery and stuff like in Zelda, which is a great homage to that and all, but I always loved doing that, so yay. Destructibles, yay. Just in general, yay. Also it's already a thing here, because you sometimes find items that were previously hidden. Can you jump over there? I don't think you can. I'm just gonna try out. Yeah, I think that you can. There's something that maybe if you turn it really, really well. There's a sudden drop there. I don't know. Is that an indicator that it does work? Huh. is just up ahead to the left, I think. You want to shoot me, but you won't. Oh. You're just a bastard, and I will kill you. There's a solution. Bam! Rest at bonfire. Level up. Strength. Accept. Go there, kill that guy. Annoying bastard that he is. Kill that guy. Check out this sign. Invade the world of brave love. Okay, I guess. Well, we tried. Good just to know where your enemies are. That's my scalpel. So gosh damn important. An onslaught of attacks. Come on, attack me. Yeah, there you go, bro. What the heck? That was interesting. He didn't block, but I hit his shield, so he blocked it. That's to be the case. It's totally the case. Yeah. That's the serious
Well
one.
now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm? Then you are a welcome customer. I trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
Everything's for sale. I could be totally a fucking... yeah, voice actor. Chain helm, there we go. I want that. I give that.
Thank you kindly.
Oh, thank you kindly. Actually, I want all of this stuff, because this is all shit. This is all just pumped up shite. I would like to purchase
you
more
again.
armor,
I hope you
please,
brought
sir.
plenty.
No. Yes. Thank you kindly. Chain armor, please. Yes, thank you. And thank you. Ooh, I don't have enough souls for anything more.
Thank you very much. Come
Very
back.
much. Cool. This is going somewhere now. I look like a proper cleric almost, eh? Yeah. Oh, you want to hit me? That's it. You want to hit me? Charlie. He hit me. Oh no, Charlie. Oh, look at him go. zombies. We need a ranged weapon. I would really like that about now. I think it's time for breakfast too. That's how I get over there. Isn't it? Yes. Yes. Totally forgot about that. There you go. I must have it. Cool. There we go. Fatty. Now we have a light crossbow. Cool. Now we're a force to be reckoned with. Anyway. I'm going back to the bonfire. Press the spell. Have some breakfast. And actually press the spell. Am I? Oh, blimey. I forgot where I am. Oh no, I'm here. Yeah, of course I am. Just exactly where I thought I would be. Oh, just faced the wrong direction. Oof. La 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 la, la 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 la. Door. Okay. I'm about to explode. Yeah, I'll just leave the stream running, I guess. Why not? Oh my. Ever since that vaccination. I mean, that might be just a coincidence. Probably is. I don't know, but ever since the vaccination, like a week later, not even a week later or so, my joints start hurting so bad, like so bad. It's just crazy. Good news, everyone! Probably nobody's watching, I know that, but doesn't matter. Even though I couldn't or didn't do any sports last week because of my freaking cold, I still lost half a kilo. At least lost half a kilo. So yeah, new all-time low on the scales, which is an all-time high. Well, not all-time, but like in a long while. That feels really good to know that even if I eat some cookies sometimes, or Schaumküsse, even if I can't do sports, I'm still focused on that goal so much that it just happens. Equilibrium achieved. So cool. Right now what I'm gonna do is pause Dark Souls for a bit. I got some sort of text message or something. I have to check that. That's muesli, by the way, without sugar. Well, of course there's sugar in the raisins, but there's not a lot of raisins in there, so there's berries in there, but berries are awesome. Who doesn't love berries? Only a mad person doesn't like berries. So, oh god, I didn't bring me oat milk, me oat drink. Well, no pain, no gain. It does hurt substantially less once I've moved a bit though. Oh yeah, and the other thing, that was not the same sauce that I had, because what I have was Mexican lemon tree and another habanero sauce, but this is, it just looked, color-wise looked very similar. One is orange, the other one is yellow, and so and the other one was a lot hotter, so it was good. So yeah, what I was saying was I'm gonna take a break from Dark Souls real quick, just for a minute there, because we are going to watch Flip Floyd. The cringy German boys. Watch 7 versus Wild, because I'm really enjoying that at the moment. I. Why? What? Why do I hear myself? Hello, 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 hello. Oh, probably because I've got that window open here. Yeah, of course. Makes sense. If you hear your own stream, you're gonna hear yourself talk. YouTube. History. What was that? Is there another Bardic broadcast video out? Okay, I guess.
Aha! Time to get back into the swing of things around here. And I'm going to do so with art books, Because as we have learned, art books are the main event of any collector's edition in which they appear. But they also appear without collector's editions of any kind. So, with thoughts of getting a few more videos made around here, I thought I might take a look at some of the art books that I here possess. And who knows, we might even expand into other kinds of book. But I won't be seen looking at anything suspicious. Now, why not start this sort of thing with a volume? Aha! Time to get...
I need to change this to this, right? Yes. Yeah, there we go.
Get back into the swing of things around here. And I'm going to do so with art books, Because as we have learned, art books are the main event of any collector's edition in which they appear. But they also appear without collector's editions of any kind. So, with thoughts of getting a few more videos made around here, I thought I might take a look at some of the art books that I here possess. And who knows, we might even expand into other kinds of book. But I won't be seen looking at anything suspicious. Now, why not start this sort of thing with a volume filled with an artist whom I very much admire, Larry Elmore, in The Complete Elmore. Aha! It is a book of power! Spring cleaning. What a fool's errand, Look at this great empty space I've been left with. Something's missing. There we go. Oh, yes, the art book. What was I going to say about it? Right, it's good. Larry Elmore is best known, at least in these lands, for being one of the 4 artistic pillars of Dungeons & Dragons, during what I hold to be one of its grandest eras. There he was, alongside Jeff Eastley and Clyde Caldwell and the late, but surely immortal Keith Parkinson, among others, crafting incredible works of art. Now, whether Elmore is the best of them is a subject for the ages. But I here now name him their chief, for he is responsible for what I think is the very best and most significant piece of Dungeons & Dragons artwork ever produced. But we'll get to that. At least we will if I can find anything in my newly reconfigured chamber. Now, where did I put my... Oh, God. Shields up. At maximum. Now, the contents of this book really makes it clear that it means a great deal to Elmore, as well it should. But for us to get a sense of that, we don't have to go any further than the cover. It's adorned with an image of a wonderful painting called Circle of Death. Oh, the warrior, the dragon, classic imagery and stirring stuff. At least it is to me. But why this? Why was this painting in particular chosen to be the cover of this book? Well, trick question. It wasn't chosen. It was, in fact, painted specifically for this purpose. Veteran D&D folk will recognize this wonderful image. Ah, yes, the incredible painting known as Red Dragon. This is one of the most famous images in all of role-playing, really. And it's widely regarded as one of the defining images of Dungeons & Dragons. Though it isn't the Elmorian masterpiece that I've alluded to already, we'll get to that later on. But it is great, and it's definitely definitive for Elmore, which is clear because it's printed in this volume no less than 3 times. It's on the 3rd time, though, when we finally see it back to back with Circle of Death, that we truly get a sense of the continuum that exists between these 2 paintings. Here's Red Dragon, right? The young warrior plunging headlong into mortal combat in the jaws of the beast, which is likewise fierce and vigorous. And look at what's at stake. The gold, the glory, why, the very future. But the circle of death wheels on. And here, the warrior is old now, and the dragon too. They're both scarred and wary. There's no headlong rushes, no thirst for glory or fame. Because now what's at stake? Survival. Survival only. Just another step in the snow. But don't take my word for it. That's how Elmore describes the relationship between these two paintings in this very volume. You see, Red Dragon for him has come to symbolize how he was at the beginning of his career, full of youthful vigor, running headlong at the challenges of life with a fortune to win. Whereas Circle of Death represents how he feels now, where the battle is not to win something, but to keep what you have. Dragons so often represent the unknown in life. Things like chaos, inevitability, and death. And you can't slay that. You can only trade scars with it for so long. Hey, it's a beautiful fatalism for a cover of a book that encompasses a man's life and career, and is the very last painting to be discussed within its pages. Wait a minute, what am I doing at the end of the book already? I've skipped the entire middle, and we can't do that, not in a book such as this, which contains wonders without end. Alrighty, I think the way to make sure that we don't miss out on all the stuff in the middle is with a nice traditional flip through. So let's do that. Although, obviously, I can't show you the whole thing. To do so would be uncouth. But we can dwell on a couple of the more interesting parts that we see as we go. Now, let's have a gander. Ooh, 2017, a fine year to buy an art book, I think. Oh yeah, here's the selections. The selections? Damn it. Look, I don't do 2 takes. Shields up at maximum. Now, for folk like me, one of them really stands out and catches the eye. The TSR years. We'll get a closer look at that in a minute, indeed. One of the first things we notice about this book is that there's quite a lot of text, and not just in the introductory part, which is fairly common, but all through there's a lot of discussion indeed, which is good. There's so much text you can almost get away with not calling it an art book at all. I will, though, because that's what it is, obviously. And there's more than one kind of art book out there in the realm. Anyway, I'll give you an example of one from the opposite extreme. This is one from Clyde Caldwell, and it's got no time for words at all, practically. It's cover-to-cover art, presented as well as you can probably get away with within the limitations of the book. This sort of thing is what I would call the most pure-blooded kind of art book. There is, of course, long stretches of this kind of presentation, beautiful, in the complete Elmore, but it's also as much the man's memoirs as it is his portfolio. There is a price to be paid for all these memories and stories, you know, a little bit of a disadvantage that we have to take. You see, this is a huge art book, and it includes the majority of Elmore's work. Wonderful stuff. However, to accommodate the text, a little bit of selectiveness has clearly had to have been employed, because some of the art is pictured a little bit smaller than I think it deserves, particularly some of the larger images. Where's an example? Here, look at this. Lair of the Black Dragon. I would love to have seen this painting with the same kind of presentation as the Leviathan here. Wonderful stuff, eh? But it's not always the text's fault, it's worth saying. Sometimes it's just because of the limitation of it being a book. And at other times, as Larry actually discusses in here, it's because the art has actually been lost, sold, or forgotten, or lost track of, or whatever the case, lost to memory. And as a result, there are no really good high-definition pictures of selected pieces, but they are presented, as best they can be, where possible. You know, judiciously arranged artwork for the sake of text and space is quite often a trade that I will gladly make, as I did here in Heroic Dreams, which remains one of my very favourite art books, and I gladly make it here in the complete Elmore for the memoirs of Elmore. These great stories he's got, although many of my favourites are actually about models. See, as you can tell from many of his works, Elmore is a great user of models. To great effect, sometimes. Here's an example. This painting is called Cities of Mystery. While working on this painting, Larry Elmore was hanging about with Keith Parkinson in the studio they were renting at the time, and he was telling him how he needed some models, and just at that moment, a really cute couple walks past the window. So, quick as a flash, of course, Larry Elmore runs out. Well, the text doesn't actually say he ran out like a madman, but as a desperate artist, I think we can assume a certain amount of flailing was involved. Whatever the case, he persuades these two to pose for this painting, and what a result! These characters look as uncertain and bewildered as their models probably were in real life. They project such gormless innocence, even with weapons drawn, that it just completes this picture. It's wonderful, is what I'm saying to you. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Here's a thing. Do you think that these weapons being drawn undermines the innocence of these characters a little bit, eh? Nah. Well, I wouldn't blame you if you did, because that's what I used to think. But these days, it seems so clear that the way they're holding these weapons, the stances, the looks on their faces, all of that sort of thing, really makes them seem even more inexperienced and vulnerable to this sort of scenario. Eh? See, of course, we've got the benefit of seeing this knoll here. Is it a knoll? What is that thing? Whatever, we know that blades out is probably the correct response in this sort of scenario, and a very experienced adventurer would also know this.
However, I invite you to finish that video on your own. I will finish it later, after the Dark Souls. I also have to go soon, take care of some stuff. And I just want to tell you that I've had a little moment right there, and then sometimes tastes trigger memories for me. Sometimes, well, this was like one sounds weird maybe, but one berry had such a lovely taste of it, such a sweet tartness to it, that I sort of had the image of the berry, like how it grew and how a bird landed right next to it and pecked the berry next to it and ate it and fed it to his little birdie birds. And then I thought about how hard I had it the last couple of weeks, like with the joint pain and the cold and people getting killed in the train right next to me, not in the train station next to mine, not 10 minutes apart from where I was standing, and stuff like that just triggers me, honestly fucking triggers me now, because the whole pandemic had me in such a state of anxiety and self-indulgement, and also like I destroyed myself basically to a certain degree. And yeah, but I managed to get myself out of there. But now it's just a couple of hard weeks with work also being tough, and like pandemic stuff at work too, to take care of stuff. I mean, if you take care of 77 musicians, of course you're gonna have to take care of a lot of that shit also, so anyway, joint pain, cold, not be able to do sports anymore, having to take extra care of food intake, obviously, which wasn't really a problem at all, but also like forgetting to drink all the time, being parched, like the nose was stuffy, all that doesn't matter, I just felt shit. And now just to feel this moment of happiness and thankfulness for the happiness, just that's a nice, those two things can complement each other quite nicely. If you feel happy and then you feel thankful for being happy, and then you're even more happy, and then you can be more thankful about being more happy again. This is a very nice the kind of the opposite of a vicious circle. That is, well, a divine circle, you might call it, is really, really nice. Yeah, fuck vicious circles. Praise divine circles. And now I'm gonna blow my nose like a boss and then play Dark Souls like a boss. I love this guy, Bardic Broadcasts. Aussie fella. His most popular video, and like also my favorite, to be honest, is the one where he reviews a hero quest. It's actually, well, actually, while we're at it, I just rewatch it. I've seen it so many times, but it's so good. It's just so freaking good. It's just so freaking good. Sort by popularity. There we go. 2.9.
Hero Quest is the best game ever made, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong. The best thing about Hero Quest is the miniatures made in the glory days before Games Workshop had been destroyed from within. There is not an inch of pretentious overcomplexity about them. Any man can tell what they are from 500 yards away, and I know this because I've tested it with a team of Russian ex-Soviet scientists. Because they weren't destroyed by idiotic oversculpting, many a young lad got their start in miniature painting, making their first delicate steps with these fine figures. Never mind that one. I ruined that one. Never mind any of that. The best thing about Hero Quest is the gargoyle. It is the finest miniature in the land. Compared to this is rubbish. This is brilliant. This is an abomination. This is a gargoyle. When a young lad saw this miniature, do you know what he said? He said, "Ooh, I've got to get in on that Hero Quest action." And he was right. The best thing about Hero Quest is this tiny furniture. It is unequaled in all the realm. Anyone who owns this furniture but doesn't use it every chance they get, even in unrelated games, is a fool. I myself have begun replacing all of my furniture with Hero Quest furniture. Even the doors. Oh no, Mormons! The best thing about Hero Quest is the cards. What you see before you is the exact optimum number of cards required to play a heroic adventure game. No more, no less. Why, just the other month I was playing in the local international poker tournament, and when it came time to reveal my hand, bam! Heroic brew! And I took home all the winnings, because after all, who's gonna argue? The best thing about Hero Quest is the board. Look at its beautiful, vibrant colours and its perfect square-ish shape. Oh yes, there was never any doubt as to how much space a game of Hero Quest was going to take up, was there? No, sir. But what do modern games give us? Oh, they're obsessed with modular dungeon tiles, and that's terrible. Half the time it's a complete disaster as the dungeon immediately veers off the nearest table edge. The other half the time it expands into a colossal labyrinth far larger than any reasonable table owned by mortal men. Play it on the floor, you might say. Well, what about people with back, neck and face problems? You didn't think of that, did you? The best thing about Hero Quest is the quest book, jam-packed with cracking sword and sorcery scenarios, each more different than the last, and none more different than the dreaded blank map, which is used to make your own deadly scenarios. Of course, the only natural response to this is to put a monster in every square, as is the right and privilege of every Hero Quest owner. The best thing about Hero Quest is the box art. Look at it. Magnificent. Painted by the great fantasy illustrator Les Edwards. And it features grand prominence in this particular art book of the man. And well it should, for it is, without doubt, the best piece of art he ever produced. Now, in the 90s, he did argue against that point, but he was quickly shouted down by key luminaries of the era, such as Prince, Bob Hawke, and Reggie Bennett. So it turns out that this was a cracking reboxing all along. But is a single reboxing enough to cover the grand majesty of Hero Quest? No, sir. No, it is not. And that means it's time for another cracking unboxing of Hero Quest. Let's get started. Well, the best thing about Hero Quest is the inside of the box. Look at these cracking instructions for heroic miniature assembly. What with the clear pictures and words, by God. When I was a lad assembling these miniatures, I would have terrible nightmares about an apocalyptic time when highly convoluted miniatures, much more so than this, would come with instructions without words at all, and terrible, grainy little pictures, and only the loosest interpretation of the word instructions. Oh, it's a good thing that never came to pass. thing about HeroQuest is this cracking screen. Not only is it covered with blistering artwork, it is also the finest perch in all the land from which to drop falling rocks on unsuspecting fools in unrelated games. It also prominently features the gargoyle. You can't even tell what this is. This is a gargoyle. The best thing about HeroQuest is the broadsword.
Broadsword.
Fire of Wrath.
The best thing about HeroQuest is rolling to move, and you might roll your eyes at this, but it really adds to the drama. Will I trip on a flagstone or leap heroically into battle? Let's find out. Well, the best thing about HeroQuest is ignoring the roll to move rule. It was clearly only included for the junior set, more used to playing snakes and ladders, and not really intended for true masters of the game. The best thing about HeroQuest is the combat dice. No finer set of dice have ever been made in any kingdom. These dice also represent the essential binary which encapsulates all evil beasts in this game. The monsters are either dead or alive. And the symbol of evil looks like a bunny rabbit if you turn it upside down. And that's why you'll hear veterans call them the bunny rabbit dice. Adorable bunny, symbol of immortal evil. The best thing about HeroQuest is the barbarian. Look at the muscularity. You are the barbarian, the greatest warrior of all. And they're not kidding. He throws 3 combat dice on attack by default. Not even the gargoyle can stand up to that. And that's without needing to get the broadsword. A barbarian, best character in the game by a long shot, and you should all go play as him immediately. Right, now that the peasantry have gone, the best thing about HeroQuest is the dwarf. Ah, yes, the barbarian, strictly for beginners. He is, in fact, easy mode. True aficionados of HeroQuest and masters of the game choose the dwarf. The best thing about HeroQuest is the expansions, which you should immediately discard, because the only true way to expand HeroQuest is with more HeroQuest. It's the only way you can experience such cracking custom scenarios as the dreaded Fortress O' Peril and Gravity Land. And that's why HeroQuest is so great.
Ah, love it. Love it. Love him. Such a sweet, awesome guy. So smart. Now Dark Souls for like a half hour or so. There we go. And then I'll actually do some sports today. That too. Finally. Yes. Get back on the horse and ride and ride and ride and ride the bike, ride the bike, and then the cross, thingy, cross. I can buy another piece of armor. Oh yes, true masters of the game. They only take a step to avoid damage, or at precisely the right time. Where does this lead, by the way? Does this lead to the salesman? Ah, no, that's... Ooh, shield. Better damage reduction. Awesome. And it looks prettier. It's got a dragon on it. Ooh. Lovely backstab there. Actually, when it's done with a mace, you should actually call it a back smash, eh? A back smash. That was to be expected. Backstabs are so easy in this game. Ooh, parry.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, there you
Still
are.
keep and go
Yeah.
ahead. Never hurts to.
Yes, yes. Leather gauntlets. 500. Oh, I can buy everything. That's awesome. Cool.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you kindly. Oh, sorry. There we go. Yeah. Look at that, a proper cleric knight. Ooh, kinda sluggish now. Ooh, fat rolls. I have to. Oof, look at that. Look at that, boyo. I think I'll try and put my other pants on for the moment. I mean, they are called holy trousers. These are even lighter. That's not really a good look. But at least I'm still kind of nimble in them. What about the other ones? The holy trousers. Yeah, nah. I don't think we're powerful enough yet. Yeah, nah. Maybe I'm not that far away from the shortcut. Oh, fuck. Doesn't matter. Easy peasy. See, Alex, this is how you do this fucker. First try. This is how you do it. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, strong guys. This is how we do it. Praise the sun.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time. Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment.
Sure, dude.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance?
Shit.
So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey?
Sure.
This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds.
and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind. Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent. Oh, hello there. The sun, if only I could be so gross.
Incandescent. Praise the sun, motherfucker. Praise the sun. I'm not gonna freaking... Yeah, no way I'm gonna risk losing all these precious souls. No freaking way. Jose. Especially if you think that it's really not that far away. soldier arm. What's that like? Snot as good. Snot as good. Snot very good. It's a critical attack. Hit him on the noggin, and it does critical attack. Yes, so I'm gonna finish that Bardic broadcast video. Then go shopping, then do some sports, then come back.
On their faces, all of that sort of thing, really makes them seem even more inexperienced and vulnerable to this sort of scenario. Eh? See, of course, we've got the benefit of seeing this knoll here. Is it a knoll? What is that thing? Whatever. We know that Blades Out is probably the correct response in this sort of scenario, and a very experienced adventurer would also know this. However, these adventurers really aren't sure if it's the right move, even as they're making it. And it's so clear that this villain is going right along with the plan regardless, because he's sure that he can get him. Experience in action. Well, it's actually very good, man. Early signs of talent going on. And of course, a lot of youthful energy was spent trying to capture something of the mysteries of the female. Very common to young gentleman artists, and I don't think Larry actually ever stopped. And he talks about doing this right when the miniskirt was coming in. Oh, must have been an exciting time. In fact, that's what he says. Whenever my mother accidentally discovered my stash of drawings, I would get into trouble and have to burn them. So the early Elmorian girly pictures didn't survive the ancient age, it seems. Episodes from the life of Elmore. Actually, the text in this is really good. It's almost completely possessed with art. There's very little side interests, very little other pursuits, and even when he does talk about those, he always seems to manage to swing it around to talking about art. It encompasses his entire life, and good for him. Oh, look out, here we are, the TSR years. This is the interesting stuff to folk like me. And the stories within, well, look, there's a real bittersweet kind of atmosphere to the story. Sort of a best of times, worst of times kind of thing. Dungeons of Dread, eh? Oh, so fantastic. Mountain of Mirrors. Look, see, this sort of thing is why I can't just go through the... I have to exercise a certain amount of self-control, otherwise I'm going to get sidetracked into every second image and talk for 9 hours. We can't have that. The Dragonlance calendar, it's beautiful. Here, look, it's over the page. No, it's over this another page. Here we are. Look at that. Dragonlance. This is the first Dragonlance painting ever produced. It was for the 1985 calendar, pictured here. And of course that one is this one. This might be worth having a closer look at right now. Oh, tally-ho, eh? Now, this normally lives in this plastic, because it's going to be quite a while before 1985 rolls around again, but when it does, I'm ready. Now, this might seem like a huge sidetrack, but I do want to illustrate a point. Earlier on, I mentioned the limitations of the book format and having to accept them. Now, I stand by this. As much as I love art books and books with art in them of all stripes, I have to admit that they are only very rarely the best way to view pieces of art individually. Here we go, an Elmore month, August. Excellent. Now, this is an example of what I'm talking about, right, this calendar, because all of the artwork within was painted for this purpose, to be seen in this calendar, in this format. And short of having the original painting in front of you, or a high-quality print perhaps, this is just about the best way that I think you can get of seeing these pieces of art and appreciating them fully. Although this does raise a question, eh? Is the purpose always one of the better ways of viewing and appreciating a piece of art? I don't know, because after all, novels tend to be quite small, but their covers are painted very large and they can be quite elaborate. Maybe we'll discuss novel covers another time. Not this. This is a mystery to me. Not this one, it's called. Here it is, in the highest quality that I can attain. 1987's Not This One. Now here is what Elmore says about it. I did some changes to this painting several years after I painted it. When I painted it for a TSR book cover, I had to paint in owl bears or something on both sides of the girl, and I always hated them. Kind of thought they were stupid-looking monsters, so I painted them out. Now, an artist painting over and altering one of their original works isn't all that uncommon, and it happens for all sorts of reasons, both good and ill. But here's the thing about this. I can't place the book that he's talking about. Now, I looked in the archives from 1987 and onward, but I couldn't find anything that matches Elmore's description. But then, much later in the book, this shows up, Queen of the Forest Spirits. Now, this does match Elmore's description, and it was published. It was used as the cover of a novel called Forward the Mage, which isn't a TSR book, you know, but whatever, case closed. The only problem is, it doesn't fit. At least I don't think it does. You see, if you showed me this and told me that these creatures were painted out, resulting in this, well, I would probably believe you immediately. But to look at them side by side, I don't know. These two women are very similar, you know, the posture and all that sort of thing. But apart from that, these paintings are very different. I would expect a lot more similarity in a reworking. Although, I suppose it wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility, you know. A lot can change when an artist gets it into their head to revise a painting just for their own satisfaction. But there are other things, you know, the chief of which is the fact that Queen of the Forest Spirits was painted in 2001, many years after Not This One. So it couldn't have been these creatures that were painted out. That is, of course, if this date really is 87. Look, I swear, it's so clear when I look at it on the page of the book, but whenever I zoom in here, I've got serious doubts. This picture that I took myself right from the pages of the book with my camera is the best quality one that I can find. And it's quite small on that original page. It even seems to be absent from Elmore's website, like, maybe it no longer exists. Queen of the Forest Spirits is there, though, available as a high-quality print. Maybe Not This One became Queen of the Forest Spirits, and not the other way round. Or maybe, and perhaps more likely, I missed something crucial in the archive, or any number of things. I don't know. But for now, and for me, at least, I declare it a mystery. At least until some other detail rears its head.
Stupid haircut.
Where did that dwarf come from?
Not stupid, but...
Quite a lot of this stuff. Oh, teamwork. Look how excellent this image was. It was painted for a Sears catalogue. of all things, right? Imagine opening up a catalogue and getting something like this, a poster of this for free. What an image. Halt! I looked into this Sears catalogue business. Sure enough, the poster's there. It wasn't free, though. The Elmorian memory has failed us on this occasion in what I shall call a snare of law. I wonder what else in this book is a snare of law. Is this a snare of law? Well, probably. But whatever, the poster wasn't free. It was, in fact, $2.99 in US currency in 1984. I have to say, that is still an incredible bargain. Gladiatorial battles, look at those physiques. And why not? The muscularity. Of course, being Elmore, it's mostly fantasy, but there is some science fiction in here. As a matter of fact, there's some Shadowrun in here. Where's that? Did I go? Look at this. Beautiful. This must be... Oh, my God, it's waiting for Shadowrun. Waiting for Shadowrun. Brilliant and one of my favourites, and definitely worthy of the full double-page treatment in the book, which it didn't get. Nonetheless, it is top level in my view. But why do I like it so much? Well, I'll tell you, but the answer isn't here. It's actually over here. There's a couple of other similar paintings that help make this clear. There's this one, Journey to the Gathering, which I include because it has a lot of obvious similarity, but there is a second one which is very interesting. The story goes, according to this very book, that a publisher wanted to use Waiting for Shadowrun for something, but he wanted Elmore to change it, to paint over the little man back there and replace him with a girl. Well, Elmore didn't want to. He'd painted this for himself, and he liked how it was. So, in a cunning move, he painted it again. Basically the same idea from scratch. And the result was Evening Rest. Oh, the Evening Rest, it's excellent. But, just like Journey to the Gathering, it's not quite as good. Well, why not? Well, I've got one word for you. Portrait. Waiting for Shadowrun is landscape, you see. So over on this side, we've got this beautiful landscape, far away distance, wonderful terrain, and it symbolises to me the call to adventure, the road ahead, and sometimes, depending on the mood, a coming home. There are many great Dragon magazine covers in it. Well, I can't show you them all. I'll show you one that I find particularly interesting, though, which is in here, somewhere. Dwarven Kingdoms of Kryn. Oh, great. The only downside is it's Kryn. Here it is, second edition Shadowrun cover. Great. I think it was the second edition. I'm going to have to go back into the archives and check. But it's wonderful stuff. See, this is a public matrix access terminal. If you ever wondered what one looks like, well, there's one. And of course, there's a gunfight and a little bit of magic. All the stuff required. Knows where I live. Might and Magic 8. I've never bought this game, but I remember the cover on the shelf at the local computer emporium, among other games. Oh man, it stood out. There's no window in the Gorgon door. You don't want to peek in there. Oh, sir. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Halfling Thief. The cover of Dragon Magazine 285, I think. And I've got that around here somewhere. And look, I couldn't find this issue of Dragon Magazine, but I did find some dusty old editions of White Dwarf. Hey, and this cracking 1995 issue of Anime FX, which is the best one because it's got a feature on the best anime film ever made. Project Echo. But never mind that. Here is the cover as it was published. Now, I remember we had this at the table one day, and one of us, probably Frankie G, the dungeon master who instructed me, pointed out that you wouldn't know she was a halfling if they didn't write the word halfling all over the cover. Maybe so. This was in the Grand High era of the so-called third edition, when they were all of a sudden desperate for their halflings to resemble anything but hobbits. They were going in for the heavy branding. And unto this, the halflings got a little bit of a redesign. They were leaner, they were much smaller than they were before, and they even started being depicted wearing shoes. And I quite like these halflings, actually. But the most important thing is that they were also more proportionate than ever before, in such a way that when they were depicted without something or someone next to them for scale, it wasn't always that obvious that you were looking at a halfling at all. Now this is Lidda, the signature halfling of these pages. Now even if you had played D&D in the past, I think it would be unlikely for you to open this book up for the first time, see this image and go, ah, a halfling. Now, with all that in mind, would it surprise you to know that this halfling thief was originally drawn, or sketched, I should say, as a human descending a wall at night outside with the loot on the escape? What a thief. But the editor runs up to Elmore, arms flailing, I assume, frothing at the mouth, all that sort of thing. We've got a halfling issue coming up, he no doubt said. We need a halfling cover. So Elmore, clever, changes the image. But he doesn't have to do too much to her. He gives her a pointed ear. That's about it. The trick is that he changes the background to an interior with furniture for scale, Job done. And then they wrote halfling all over it, just to be sure. They never really stopped meddling with halflings, did they? Because come the modern age, and all of a sudden they're redesigned again into this. And I remember a lot of people didn't really like this sort of thing, but I didn't mind it. Besides, if I can get used to Lalafell running around, I can get used to these. Here's a painting called Mountain Conflict, and it's so good. But it's been spoiled for me a little bit at least by the story attached to it here and its ultimate fate. Mountain Conflict is another painting that I think really deserved big format presentation in this book. It didn't get it though. But it's a notable painting in its own right. It was well regarded enough to serve as the cover of another Elmore art book, which I don't have, and some of its characters even made it into a line of Elmore miniatures. Well, not too bad. It may well be the best of Elmore's fantasy battle scenes, but it's not my favourite. We'll get to my favourite Elmore work soon enough, A little bit. But I do think Mountain Conflict is excellent. But we'll try this. Mountain Conflict, here we go. The man on the horse, Left, commissioned me to do this large painting. Everyone in the scene was part of his gaming group. They had played D&D for years. I had to do portraits of every character in this painting. The guy lying dead in the snow played in the group for a long time, but eventually dropped out. But they wanted him in the painting anyway. The female elven archer was his girlfriend at the time. As time went on, they broke up, and now he is married. So, as I write this book, this large painting is back in my studio for me to repaint the woman as his now wife. A man's got to keep the women happy. I don't know about this, eh? Well, altering original works of art, it's no easy topic at the best of times in any medium, really, and it's not a case of being able to say, ultimately, that it's okay or not okay. It's really not that simple. But as we have seen in this volume, it was certainly a reality for Elmore in his professional career, sometimes to his ultimate regret. Yeah, I know it's an ex-girlfriend, but this isn't just some picture of an old flame that's hanging about the place. I close the door. Shields up at maximum. This is a portrait. Now, it's a fantastical portrait, yes, but it's a portrait of a gaming group, actual companions, whose lives intersected as they journeyed across the tabletop together. And they had such a great time doing it that one of the great role-playing artists of the age immortalized it in paint, where it stands as a tribute to their shared experiences, their memories, and their friendship. Friendship, evidently, because they went to all the trouble of including the fellow who left the group to fill his cup and show their love for him. At least I hope this is him in a loose interpretation of lying dead, because if he's supposed to be the guy who's actually lying dead, then I don't think this counts as being in the painting. Now that detail may be a snare of lore. And to be honest, I've discovered enough snares of lore in this book not to take this text at face value at all. It could be way off on any or all of the details. And actually, I hope that it is, because the tale it tells is quite dire. And it's very unflattering, too, especially to the wife of the tale. You know, the one who would be unhappy unless she was painted into the scene, right over the top of the other woman. I have to think that if this was actually true, then Elmore would tactfully try not to bring it up. And besides, I would rather think that a painting that I enjoyed had not fallen victim to such a sad and petty melodrama. I don't want to grumble too much, though. Not about what Elmore's clients want him to paint, or about snares of law, really, even though they seem to emerge from this book like stars in the evening sky. Although Elmore is quite upfront in the book about how difficult it can be to recall ancient details, which is fair. Many of the snares of lore I spotted were easily verifiable, even on the very same page on one occasion. And I feel that they just slip through editing or proofing or whatever. But they do mean that there are snares that you can't spot or verify. Silence! One snare we can kill, but there may be more. Well, that just means that you have to read critically, which is a good policy in any case. This video, I don't know. The original plan was that we'd have a little bit of a flip through of the book, look at some nice artwork briefly, and then have a nice detailed look at one or two or one really significant bits of artwork. But I got a little bit carried away on certain points. I'll have to watch out for that in future. However, I think we should get to that one bit of art that I've been alluding to all along. If I can find it in here. Some folk who are familiar with Elmore's work will probably be able to guess what it is, before we get there. It's none of these. It is, to me, the one thing that epitomizes D&D. It's almost uncontested in the realms of Dungeons & Dragons art, and it is, to me also, Elmore's masterpiece. This is it. This is the one. This...
I've seen enough.
Rats that look like men? Bleh.
What was that ending?
Oh!
That was weird. None of your business. Sorry. What am I doing? Yes, thank you for watching, and see you later. Bye.